Hello, my name is Alex Harshman, and I want to say welcome to the Wholesale to Freedom channel. Today in this video, we're going to be breaking down how I made $11,500 completely virtual in one of my most recent deals. You're going to want to stay tuned for this one because I'm going to reveal a lot of tips and tricks and insider secrets. For those who don't know what virtual means, it basically means I never went out to the property, never seen the buyer, never seen the seller, never went to the title company for closing, and I still completely wholesaled this deal without ever being there or being present physically at all. In fact, the property that I'm wholesaling was actually about a 20-hour driving distance from where I'm located right now in Maryland. If you want to learn how to virtually wholesale just as I do and learn all the latest tips and tricks, be sure to subscribe down below, click that notification bell, that way you get notified of all my future videos as well as when I go live for my live Q&As. And then also be sure to give us a thumbs up if you find any value out of this, as it does support the channel and it's completely free to do so. So let's dive straight in. So where did this lead come from? This lead came from a vacant list that I pulled on PropStream. For those who don't know, PropStream is a software and program that you can purchase. It's around 97 bucks per month, but you can pull up to 10,000 leads per month from different types of lists. So high equity, vacant, absentee owners, etc., etc. Not only that, but you can pull comparable properties directly from the MLS, which is huge. You can also find cash buyers this way as well. If you're interested in checking that program out, I actually have a free trial down in the description. It's a 7-day free trial. After that 7 days, it will charge your card on file. However, if you want to cancel before that time, you can do so. It does help out the channel. It's an affiliate link, but it's no additional cost to you. So check that out down below if you want to see that. How do we contact the seller? Well, my VAs contacted them via cold calling. We actually use a cold calling auto dialer. So for those who don't know, you can dial each number individually, which takes a long time, and actually that's how I started. You can also use a program that's an auto dialer, such as Mojo, ZenCall, or what I use is Call Tools. And what it does is it dials multiple lines at the same time. So for example, with my program Call Tools that I use, it dials up to 10 lines per user. So I can actually call 10 lines at a single time, which can burn through that list pretty quickly, and it helps get to those leads that are most motivated at a quicker pace. If you're interested in checking that out, I'm also going to have a link in the description where you can check that out, as it is the dialer that I use and strongly recommend. But basically, my VA contacted this person and got the necessary information that we needed. They filtered the seller for motivation, got the property details, and kind of their asking price from there. The seller was asking $75,000 for the property, and they only suggested that it needed around $30,000 in repairs. Based on my research, we found that this property was selling around $170,000 after repair value. So after all the repairs were done, this property is going to be worth around $170,000 based on the comparable properties within a close proximity of each other that are similar in size, shape, and layout. If you don't know what the formula for wholesaling is, it's basically 70% times the ARV, so after repair value, what it's worth when it's fixed up, 70% to that, minus any repairs, subtracting your fee from that, and that's going to be your max allowable offer, or MAO. So ARV multiplied by 70% minus repairs minus your fee equals the max allowable offer that you need to be at in order to make this work. Now, I like to make around $10,000 to $20,000 on my wholesale deals, so I factored in a $10,000 wholesale fee on this one. I also projected around a $40,000 repair cost because I know typically, based off my own experience, that sellers tend to undershoot their repair estimate just because they're not in the industry. They don't typically know how much it costs, but it's a good gauge, especially when you're doing this virtually, to get an idea of how much work needs to be done. So using the formula I just mentioned, the numbers look just like this inside the formula. 170 times 0.7, or 70%, minus 40 for the $40,000 in repairs, minus 10,000 for the 10,000 in wholesale fee, which is going to be my max allowable offer, which in this case was $69,000. The seller was at 75. I needed to be at 69 or lower to make this work at my numbers. Now this brings us to our offer. I had to go back and offer $50,000 because I always like to be lower than what my max allowable offer is to give me room for negotiation. We did a little back and forth there, and we ended up agreeing on a price at $60,000. Based on my max allowable offer, I was able to make this work. We agreed on the price, and then I sent over the agreement, of which they signed the very next day. Now it was time to move on to finding a buyer. So I sent an email out to my email list that I've built through Facebook pages, Craigslist, local real estate investors association pages. So for those who don't know, its abbreviation is REIA, R-E-I-A, and that stands for Real Estate Investors Association. And through those methods, I've built my cash buyers list. It's still not as big as I'd like it to be, but every day, every week, I'm trying to build that. And you should too as well in your business. I had a few interested parties who immediately responded to me and said they'd like to go see the property. Because the property was vacant, it was very easily accessed. Building great rapport with the seller helps too, because then we can say, hey, we need to have our contractors go out there and look at the property. They said, no problem, just, anytime you go out there, let me know. And so that's what I did. So we sent multiple people out there to look at it, and I was getting offers in the 30s and 40s, and the highest offer I got was at $50,000. And as you know, our contract price was at $60,000. So this told me, based on my buyers' feedback, because they all said the same thing, this property needed way more work than what was originally expected. And this happens. So what do we do? So in this situation, we had to explore other options. And what this means is, hey, we have some solid cash buyers who brought us some solid feedback and solid offers. Now we need to take this information and do something with it. We can continue to fish for other investors who are going to, try to give us a higher price, but it doesn't always work out that way. And when multiple people say the same thing, typically it means that, that's pretty accurate information. So what I like to do from there is I like to either try to find somebody who's going to bring a higher end buyer, which means they're going to pay a little bit more retail, or I go back and renegotiate for a better price from the seller. But because I didn't have a solid offer that was within a good renegotiation price, I mean, the closest offer was 10 grand less. That's a lot to renegotiate, especially in a small price range like that. So I decided to reach out to some partners in the area who are my boots on the ground, and they also wholesale. So in this case, we joint ventured, which means JVing, if you hear that term a lot. And basically that means they bring the buyer, I bring the seller. Typically you split 50-50, but actually you can arrange that situation however you want. You can get paid 60-40, whatever you arrange with the JV person. So I shot it out to them. They had some interested parties, and then after they had some people go out and look at the property as well, they actually had an offer come back at $60,000, ready to move forward, paying all closing costs, which was perfect. And I know what you're saying. Well, how is that perfect, Alex? You're at $60,000, they're at $60,000. How do you make money? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about. Now we move on to renegotiation. Because we had a solid offer, they had the contract signed, they were ready to move forward, we can now take that and go back to the seller and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're ready to move forward, but unfortunately our contractor said there's just too much work that needs to be done on this property. Here's where we need to be in order to make this work. And I actually renegotiated them down to $35,000 afterwards. I didn't renegotiate successfully, but what I did is I started there again to give me some room for negotiation. After some back and forth, we agreed on $50,000, a $10,000 discount, which was to be split between me and my JV partner 50-50. So we were each going to make $5,000 on this property. Now that is how I turned a no deal into a deal. But it doesn't end there. There was yet another hurdle we had to solve, and this happens. So that happened on a Friday evening where the buyer signed the assignment contract. They couldn't put the EMD or the deposit down on the property because the title companies were closed at that time. So they were going to drop it off on Monday to secure the contract. Well, on Sunday evening, we get a phone call from his buyer saying that he had to back out of the deal because his contractor got COVID-19, which means he could not work on the property, which means the investor was not ready to move forward. What would you do in this situation? Would you freak out? You just renegotiated the seller, right? So what do? In this industry, this happens all the time. You just have to overcome each hurdle as they come. So what I did was I went back to the seller immediately and just said, hey, our contractor got COVID. There's nothing we can do. We got to now find a new contractor. We're still looking to close within the time frame of the contract, which I put as 60 days. I always get 60 days or more on my contracts to give me time for things like this. And they said, because I built great rapport with them, that's no problem. Please keep us updated. And that's that. Comment down below how you would feel and how you would react to a situation like that, especially after you just received a text message that your buyer's backing out. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. So after that, I was pretty, I wasn't upset, but I was pretty turned off from the people that I JV'd with. They didn't filter their buyers well enough. They are good people. I've worked with them before. I know they can perform. However, this time they did not follow through. So what I did in that situation was I went out and found a new partner to JV with, because I exhausted all methods with myself to find a buyer myself. And I was running on a time crunch because of the renegotiation that fell through. And I really just wanted to make this work for the seller. So what I did from here is I found another buyer by calling all the We Buy Houses websites on the first page of Google. And after about 3 phone calls, I found the person who said, hey, send me the information. I sent them over the information. They looked at it. They said, you got a great deal. I think I can sell it at $75,000 for you in the next 48 hours. And sure enough, the very next day we had it under contract with a deposit of $2,000. And you know, as they say, the rest is history. We closed in 14 days and we got the deal done. And we actually made more money from the first one falling through. And now I got a new JV partner that I know that can perform. And I just spent about 5 minutes calling people on Google. So that goes to show you, never give up. If something arises, stay in good communication, stay in good faith, and figure something out. Just never give up. I want to reflect back on this, and typically in this situation we can look back and say, hey, I could have done this better, or maybe I messed something up. And that might be the truest case. But not always is that the case. Sometimes there's just things that are inevitable that you have to solve and jump over that hurdle. And that's what happened in this one. And actually I created a really great relationship with this person, and now I'm going to have them begging to do deals with me because that was their second highest assignment they've ever closed, and it was half between the two of us. So imagine that. I just brought this person the second highest deal they've ever gotten, and it was split between the two of us. And that's how you build relationships that people want to come back to you and perform for you. I hope you found value out of this video. If you did, please again give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, click that notification bell, share this video with your friends, fellow wholesalers, because I dropped a ton of value absolutely free in this video just for you guys, because I want to see you succeed. And I'm producing this content every single Tuesday, and I'm going live, if not every week, every other week. And I hope to see you guys in my videos. I hope that you watch, and I hope that you subscribe, because I want to continue to do this. This is what I love to do. I love to help you guys. And I just want to say thank you for watching. So as always, take care.